All right, teaching STEAM programs. I don't want to make that mistake again. It's STEAM, not STEM. We don't want to forget the arts. We have 2 network leaders for this program. Ideal Gonzalez-Saricchio from the Buckley School in California was unable to join us this afternoon because she has to teach. Imagine that. She's a teacher and she has to teach. But we do have with us Simon Huss from the Windward School in West Los Angeles. So I'm going to turn this over to Simon.
Thank you, Joel. And wow, you kind of stole my thunder there in terms of, I was going to say the same thing. I just want to take all these other pathways. How impressive. I tried to make an argument, Matt, for why I wouldn't do it this summer. And the only negative I have is laziness. So I need to get on it. My background, just very briefly, I was a scientist and engineer before switching to education about 18 years ago. I've been in the classroom for that long, mainly teaching some parts of the different letters that make up the STEAM acronym. So a lot of science classes, engineering, technology, and math. Rarely do they let me teach anything in the art world. But what I found, that I know that Ideal has found too, is so often we want to really get our kids in these siloed disciplines familiar and exposed to real world problems. And this comes up again and again as we talk about with teachers, authentic experiences, kids having agency, solving problems and challenges that exist in the real world. And to do that, our argument is, of course, so many of these things are multidisciplinary. They cross the lines and the boundaries of an individual discipline. And so that's a big plug for why STEAM and why classroom teachers, as classroom teachers, we might want to incorporate elements of these other disciplines into our practice, regardless of which letter in this particular acronym you find yourself teaching. So the goals of this introductory pathway are really to familiarize teachers who take it with different aspects of STEAM, reviewing existing exemplars of STEAM programs and STEAM projects within various contexts in classrooms. Really also looking at both anecdotal evidence as well as some research-based evidence on the efficacy of combining the different aspects of STEAM and the results for learning outcomes within your individual discipline. And what we're asking teachers to do as a part of this review process is to absorb this content and these examples, and to reflect on, in a reflection exercise, how do these examples really resonate with their own practice. And specifically, when we talk about STEAM in action, we're identifying 5 areas that kind of fit nicely within the STEAM moniker there. We've identified environmental science, robotics, making in the classroom, applied science, and then performing arts collaborations. And so for those 5, we're asking the teacher who goes through the introductory pathway to identify which of those most resonates with what they're doing and what they would like to pursue further. And once they've developed this sense of, oh, I want to take making in the classroom further, or I'd really like to collaborate with performing arts in my existing science class, we're asking teachers as a part of their milestone to develop kind of a skeletal outline for an existing unit within their current practice and how they might begin to do this, including and not limited to identifying challenges, developing partnerships, and what learning outcomes and how those might change to reflect this different sensibility around their existing unit. I wanted to add that we see, both Ideal and I see this introductory pathway as really just kind of a familiarization. It's a stepping stone to getting more involved into the higher levels. So we've developed a lot more in making and robotics and environmental science. And we had really hoped before this new reality to provide on-site workshops to help teachers take the next step. We both work in very well-resourced laboratory and making environments at our schools, and we're really excited about starting the summer workshops for teachers. I think that's probably on hold, but I know that Joel has said that OESIS is willing to take a look at this further, depending upon what the rules and regulations about us all getting together are. But I would say, as a final note, we are certainly thinking about so many of these STEAM activities in this new context too, as we all wrestle with how to do this remotely. How can we have our kids work together on a robot, say, or in a maker space on a project together when they have to be at home or when they only have limited access in person? So that's something we're wrestling with, and I can imagine that that needs to be reflected in the pathway as we move forward.
Okay, thank you, Simon. So I think one of the important things about this particular pathway is that the introductory level is designed to provide you with sufficient scaffolding that you can then make a decision about what area of STEAM you'd like to pursue. And then in the subsequent levels, you would actually do the program development in that particular area of STEAM at various levels of sophistication and review and revision and those kinds of things. So this is designed to create an end product, which could be a brand new program at your school.
Right. No, exactly. And I guess just to echo that, it might make sense depending on where in the administrative strata you find yourself at your school. Sure, maybe you can make the decisions to start an environmental science program, but maybe you're not there. Maybe you just want to see more making or arts collaboration in your existing classes. And so which particular route you choose may have a lot to do with where you find yourself administratively at your school as well.